Hi, everybody. Tim Hughes here. I'm the CEO and co-founder of DLA Ignite. Today, I'm with Michelle Dickinson, and we're going to be talking about resilience as a lifestyle. So, Michelle, tell us where people can get hold of you.
Awesome. Thanks for having me, Tim. I'm thrilled to be here with you today.
You're welcome.
LinkedIn is my second home. So I recommend that people go there and follow my content and connect with me through LinkedIn.
And what I was going to do was, you did a TED Talk, didn't you?
I did.
It was a number of years ago, but for anybody out there that wants to watch a good TED Talk, watch Michelle's. It made me cry.
Oh,
And I'm sure it did to everybody else in the room.
was
The storytelling is just awesome.
oh, thank you.
And it was just fantastic. The opening the door and stuff like that, which is people need to go and watch it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that it was the experience of my life growing up with my mom, in a short 10-minute version, which was the impetus for me writing my memoir. So it all started on that stage. So yeah.
So tell us about, we're all busy people. We're all trying to do multiple things. We've got calls, we've got emails coming in. And surely we could just need to work harder, don't we? And just get up earlier and just to push on through.
Yeah, no, I mean, I believe that resilience should be a lifestyle that we're adopting into our daily routine, and we are making the time for ourselves every single day. I mean, if we want to be able to ebb and flow with the inevitable stress that will always happen, we have to be better equipped and better prepared. So, but that takes something, that takes some discipline and consistency.
Because sometimes actually the best thing you can do is not to do the email, is actually to go for a walk.
Yeah. Clear your head. Absolutely. It's the noise that causes a lot of unnecessary stress and anxiety. And we never really step away from the busyness of our routine. So that's the key here is if we're building resilience as a lifestyle, that means we have to clear our head, get out in nature, take a pause, have no problem taking a pause, you know?
What can we do to sort of like navigate these challenges? We know that we're busy, and actually stopping seems to be counterintuitive.
Absolutely.
What is it that we can start doing?
So, if you think about it, the way we start our day has so much to do with our entire daily experience, right? So, a lot of people that come to me, I find that they are falling into their day. They have no structure. They literally hit their alarm clock, catapult out of bed and rush into their day. My recommendation is always to just take a few moments just for yourself in the morning. Like, start your day with a little bit of intentionality. It creates an energy for how the rest of the day will go, and it fills your cup a little bit. Like, how do we serve other people if we don't take a moment to fill our own cup? So it could be as simple as having a cup of tea and, reflecting on things you're grateful for, reading something, sitting in prayer, something that is going to have you set the tone for your entire day.
Yeah, I know one of the things that I always try and do is work out the priority. I got back from lunch today and I had 3 different emails in my inbox, and it was about working out which was the biggest priority.
Yeah.
One was from a customer, one was from someone who was coming on a podcast of mine, as in you, and there was one which was just a piece of something that I'm subscribed to. So what is it that I should actually go to, and what's the priority there?
Yeah.
And I happened to choose the priority was you because I needed to sort out to make sure that the podcast was on time, rather than, and so I didn't go to the customer one first.
Mm-hmm. We live in such a world where we're reacting. Like, there's a reaction. Like, we're like almost groomed by society to just react and respond to whatever is surfaces and needs our attention. What if we created a little bit more of intentionality so that we felt good so we could deal with whatever comes at us? It sounds silly, but honestly, if you were to start your day off with more intentionality, you'd be less bothered by the things that popped up because you would have a calmness about you. You'd have a centeredness about you. And you wouldn't be so overwhelmed with noise in your head, to not be able to just navigate what comes. Like the reality is stress is always coming. So what do we do to be able to deal with the stress? That's
Yes.
my challenge. Like, how do we be able to deal with that stress so it doesn't devour us? Like, that's my whole mission, is like empower people so they're not devoured by the magnitude of email that pops up, that they're like, all right, I'm just going to deal with this because I feel pretty good. If I feel good, I can deal with it.
So it's more about actually, as you say, having being intentional about the way that you work, and having some structure. It's interesting because I'm very structured. So I always assume that, what happens is you always assume everybody's like yourself.
Yeah.
But my partner was saying to me at the weekend, she said, "You're so structured." And it was like, well, aren't you like that?
Mm. Yeah. I mean, I think some structure is really good. I think when it comes to having self-care non-negotiable, I think structure is critical. I think that more times than not, we are at the reaction to the requests of life and family and work, that we get put on the back burner to address our well-being only if there's time. So I think having structure is good, because if you could say to yourself, I'm going to make sure that no matter what, I get that walk in, or I'm going to take that 15 minutes in the morning before I hit my commute to just settle myself and clear my head. Like, that's where structure is important, because I'm a believer you got to fill your cup every day. You can't forego that and hope that a vacation, a weekend, a spa day is going to resolve that stress.
Yeah, that's interesting, because one of the things I know that I've seen you say before is that quite often what we do is that we say we're going to go on holiday in 6 months, and therefore we live for the holiday rather than actually living for today or the week, because to talk about it.
Yeah, no, for sure. I think that, a lot of us, like, we live in a grind mentality. We have, famous entrepreneurs out there going, grind it out, right? But at the same time, I think that we should be learning how to flow, because if we can create a little bit of time for ourselves every day, then we're not going to reach the point of depletion and burnout. So, and I'm not saying you have to take like hours of time. It's the micro shifts. It's focusing your attention on what's good. It's, like I said, being intentional in how you start your day. It's getting outside in nature, getting fresh air in your lungs, maybe meditating to clear the noise in your head so that you can engage with the people you love in a way that you feel proud of, and you're giving them the best version of you. Like, it's little things that can create a better day-to-day experience, so that you're not like hanging onto the trapeze of holiday to just, I'm going to go and I'm going to be better after that holiday, because it's not healthy. It's not healthy, but so many people do that.
So if I decide that I want to make a change, what are the first things that I need to do?
So it depends what you're already doing and some people have things that they do or they know to do, but they just don't do it. So like the first thing I would say is like, you probably already know what to do. You probably know what you need to do to feel good, but like, are you protecting that time or that, whatever that is? Are you protecting that and making it happen? It's one thing to know. It's kind of like weight loss. You know how to lose weight, but like, do you do it? Like, it's being unflinchingly rigid and creating those boundaries. When we put a boundary in place, we're saying, I love me. I have responsibility, but I love me. So I'm putting this little boundary in place so that I can take care of me, because the impact is significant in our work and the impact with the people we love. We don't show up the way we know we can.
So boundaries are like saying no, or asking what the priority is. If you're at work and you're given an extra task, you say, okay, I can take on this extra task, but I don't have time to do all the tasks that you've given me. So what's going to give?
Mm-hmm.
Is that what you're saying in terms of boundaries?
Yeah, I think, I don't want to say that, you say no to your employer. I say you find ways to say yes to you and try to make it work. And being ever present to the impact of not taking care of you. You're not going to be sharp to do the task. The task's probably going to take 3 times longer because you're exhausted. You haven't gotten away. Think about the impact of not taking care of yourself, and then how do you make it work? It doesn't have to be long. It could just be a little pause. It could just be a 15-minute walk instead of a 30-minute walk. But the benefit is you come back and you're more intentional, you're more focused.
And what about time blocking stuff? Because I know
Yeah.
a lot of people say you get to the end of the week and said I didn't have time for that, and it's like, well, that's because you just didn't make the time in your calendar.
I always suggest to people what works for me, and that's planning your work and working your plan. Like whatever you know that you need to do, like you got to map that onto the calendar, make it happen so that you're not constantly looking at the to-do list that's never ending and never getting accomplished. So if you have to create that action plan and then work it, we have an incredible sense of self when we actually follow through on things that we say we're going to do for us, more so for other people. If you think about it, like it feels good to be like, I did what I said I was going to do.
It does. And a couple of years ago, I moved off to-do lists and actually I put it in my calendar.
Nice.
So rather than, I do actually have 3 things on a to-do list, but I also have what I block time out, which is stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Which is where those little bits of I need to go to that website and do this, and I need to do that, and that kind of builds up. So I kind of building time for that. Otherwise, there's these little things and they never get done.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. For sure. There's always going to be things that pop up, but like the big things, if you want them to happen, you really have to schedule time to make them happen. Yeah, for sure.
So, is there anything that we can do in terms of taking care of ourselves? I mean,
yeah, I mean, honestly, the 2 things I teach are from a mindset perspective and from a day-to-day practices perspective, right? But then there's also your values and understanding what you value the most, like what you fill your space with, like where you like to spend most of your time, where you get energy, what do you do that gets you energy? These are all really important things. But from a very practical perspective, we have a lot of noise in our head that causes us anxiety and stress. When you're feeling high stress, you have to ask yourself, what am I doing to process stress? And 2 of the ways you can do that is either through movement, making sure you're moving your body regularly, or meditation. Meditation has a beautiful way of clearing our head of the noise. So having those go-to strategies to help you mitigate stress is brilliant. And then mindset wise, what we focus on will always expand. So if we're only focusing on our problems, because that's what the mind wants to do is protect you, you are not going to feel good. So my recommendation is always try to shift your focus to what's good. What are you grateful for? What's good in your life that you can look at and say, that's so good. And it feels good to reflect on that. Too often we step over that to look at what's wrong.
Yeah, I think that we, maybe it's because when I've got older, I've started to realize what you have.
Yeah.
And how important those things are.
Yeah.
Rather than looking at the negative things. I started running 3 years ago during COVID.
Nice.
I'm not a runner. I've never been a runner in my life, and I decided and thought, well, if I'm going to get this disease, then I want to make sure I'm the fittest I am. So I used there's an app called Couch to 5K.
Nice.
Which teaches you to do 5K in 6 weeks. And I did that, and of course it's a habit, you need to keep doing it.
Mm-hmm.
And I actually now do 8K 3 times a week. But it's an amazing time for me to focus in and actually think. Yeah. And not have any distractions. I do have music in my ear, but some I don't necessarily listen to it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's great. And that's for you. That time is for you.
Yes.
Like, that recharges you. I mean, that's the thing. And I bet you protect that time and you don't let things hijack it.
I do. I get up. I do it early in the morning, so I don't have any. Unfortunately, it's cold, and I don't really like the cold much anymore. But it's my time, and I love that. I love it when it early in the morning. I get up at. I'm out at 5:30, and I love that time.
Mhm.
And of course, that's about having the exercise, the movement that you said, and also we always try and eat the right things.
Mhm. Yeah, it's important, right? Like and I focus so much on helping my clients feel better. Like feeling better is an energy. When we feel good, we're radiating good energy out in the world and more of that is coming back to us. But when we're physically drained and we're mentally exhausted, how do you feel good? How do you pull more of that? You want to pull the good stuff to you. So you actually have to be thinking about, what am I fueling my body with? What am I letting my mind consume? Too many people that I meet are watching the news. They're watching the toxic information. And I'm like, you really got to protect your brain because nobody's protecting your brain but you. Just like eating fast food versus eating healthy food. These are choices that you make to feel good. So I say, if you focused on what do I need to do to fuel my mind and my body to feel good, that's going to get you in the right direction.
Yeah, and I think that's such great advice. I mean, I love what you talk about in terms of finding the energy, and because it's about finding the thing that it's not just about finding the thing that you enjoy, but it's about there's a difference to it. I think there's a TED talk in there. Maybe that's your next one, Michelle. It's about finding that, and some of that's about people, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh, Lord. You have to be aware of who your circle is. You
Because
have
it's,
to.
there's certain people. My partner says to me, "So what how come you know lots of really positive people?" I said, because I don't like negative energy sucking people. You've talked to people where they suck energy, and there's other people where you come on a call and you actually come away with more energy than when you went on. And we've
Yes.
all done that, and it's
Wow.
and it's about how you get attracted to those people, isn't it?
Oh yeah, and the ones that are in your ear, I mean, they're either helping you or hurting you. Like I have cleaned house a number of times when it comes to my circle because my barometer is, how do I feel when I'm interacting with you, when I spend time with you, when I'm talking to you, how do I feel? Because if it doesn't feel right and it doesn't feel good, I need to protect that. Only we can protect that energy. So, yep, important.
So having a clear head, finding energy, and also gratitude.
Yeah, gratitude's key. I think gratitude is one amazing superpower. We have the tendency to always think negatively. The mind isn't wired to make us happy. This is something I tell every single client. You have to get the mind is not wired to make you happy. It's wired to protect you. So
Yes.
it's doing its job when it's always looking for what's wrong. So when you're only focusing on what's wrong, you feel bad. So why not retrain your mind to look for good? And the way we do that is by getting present to what's good in our life, the love, the abundance, everything right here that we're often stepping over.
Right. Okay. Yeah. And I totally agree with you in terms of that gratitude. Actually, I know some people do journals, don't they, in terms of writing down what they're thankful for, or
Yeah.
spending time thinking about that as well. And I think that's it's not something I do, but I think it's so important to realize the good things that you have in life.
Yeah, and I relate to gratitude as a morning ritual practice where I challenge myself every day to find three new things. And sometimes it's
Right.
not easy, right? It's easy to say I'm grateful for the big things and be done with it. But if you were to do this every morning and you were to really challenge your brain to look for three new things that you're grateful for, I'll tell you, it's powerful when you do it every day.
Yes, I can see that because I can immediately pick up three things, and but you've got to do three new things every day. Then that's going to be really difficult.
Yeah, or it's gonna have you shift your gaze to so much that maybe you take for granted or that you don't appreciate.
Yes, yes, yeah. I'm already because I'm thinking about where I would be in the morning, which is I love breakfast, and I'm just thinking about the fact that there's always milk in the fridge. And actually, that's an amazing thing.
Yes. Oh yes. Yeah, sometimes it's some mornings for me, it's the fact that the sun popped out or the fact that my coffee just tastes extra good.
Hmm. Oh, and as I said to you, we've been having really. It's actually still been summer, even though it's now the 12th of October when we're recording this. And, we've actually had like a summer up until the middle of October, and okay, not for everybody that's good, but for some of us, it's nice to have the warmth.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and the pause to just reflect on that feels good. Just do more of what feels good.
Michelle, thank you so much for coming on and talking about resilience and trying to turn it into a lifestyle. It's something that we've all got to try and do, because we're trying to do our best selves.
Of course.
Remind people where they can find you.
Thank you again for having me, Tim.
You're welcome.
LinkedIn is probably the best place to connect with me and follow my content, but I'm also on TikTok and Instagram. You can find that link on LinkedIn.
And I'm going to remind people to look out for your TED Talk. What's the name of it?
Perfect Just the Way You Are, and it's on my YouTube channel.
Okay, right. So and it's well worth watching. It's everybody says, oh, you need to watch the TED Talk. Watch Michelle's TED Talk. It is really good, and make sure that you've got something for your eyes as well to dab the tears.
Thank you, Tim.
Michelle, thank you so much for coming on, and I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.